4.3 Acids and Bases in Action from Chapter 4. So why are acids and bases important? Why should we care about them? We use them in so many different facets of our life, and we probably don't even recognize it. So a few examples. Baking. So in baking, we use baking soda, and when mixed with acidic compounds like sour milk, lemon juice, vinegar, or orange juice, it helps to make baked goods rise. Cooking. pH matters when cooking vegetables and beans. For instance, baking soda, again, is often added to beans while cooking to help soften them. Health. Heartburn is often caused by too much stomach acid. Taking an antacid, like a Tums, neutralizes the additional stomach acid, providing relief. And deodorizing. Baking soda in the fridge helps to remove acidic food odors. So notice how much baking soda is used beyond just baking. Some other things where we see acids and bases in action. Corrosion. So corrosion is partly or sometimes from acidic or basic compounds. So they can etch metal or rock or glass. They cause severe burns, obviously, to skin and other tissues, but we can use them to our benefit in etching or erosion. Corrosion, or rusting, is the wearing away of materials by chemical reaction. Oxygen and water, where they're exposed to metal, are the culprits here. So there's some metals that don't really corrode very well, and there's some that do very well. So for instance, iron will corrode, and that's when we get rust. We can have copper corrode, and we'll get like this green color. Aluminum can corrode. It doesn't go as quickly as iron. Iron's the one that we see corrode really quickly. Aluminum will turn actually kind of like this whitish color. And silver is another example. And silver will turn black when it corrodes. Again, iron is the biggest one. So to prevent corrosion, we do a few different things. We make stainless steel or other alloys where we mix metals together and it gives it different properties. We'll paint it. We'll coat it in other metals like galvanized. So galvanized nails or other metallic hardware won't rust. And a bunch of other metals. So acids and bases in nature, again, we've seen this is our corrosion. So this looks like iron that's rusted. And what we're seeing in this one is a statue initially and years later. I'm not sure exactly how long the time period is between our first and second photo here. But what's happened is acid rain has fallen in this city. And it has eroded the statue. So she's no longer got a face. It's eroded those features on her face. Her hand has disappeared. The intricacies of her dress and I don't know, whatever shawl she's got there have eroded over time. So acids can wreak havoc. We can also have acidic rain that will acidify lakes, and fish and other organisms there will start to die because they can't live in such an acidic pH. So acidic rain can be very dangerous as well to our environment, first of all, but also to some of our man-made structures. Corrosion at work. So we see, again, corrosion in a few different places. Coins undergo corrosion as they become discolored as they age. You could see this with if you have an older coin and a newer coin. You can clean coins up by dropping them into vinegar though, and that will take away some of this corroded metal. So vinegar and acid can help us kind of negate those corrosion properties. Silver turns black when corroded, and it can be polished. So This is silver that needs to be polished. And after it's been polished, of course, it shines up really nicely, but it has like this blackish hue. Copper turns green when corroded. It's often a roofing material on fancy buildings. So you can see here, this is the Parliament buildings in Victoria, BC. And up on the roof is copper. It's turned green over time. Now, it's corroding, so just like iron or a car body that rusts and will start to get holes, so will copper. It takes a little bit longer, but it does need to be replaced because you're wearing away the metal. So at some point they'll have to replace this roof, and when they replace the roof, copper looks like the color of a penny, kind of a bronzish, maybe a little bit reddish. And so when it's replaced, these will look very different. So if they replace just this one, you would know right away. And so a lot of times, they choose copper because it looks great on these buildings and it makes it authentic to kind of the time period. Again, they're made out of limestone, so they want to make it look nice. But when they have to go and change the roof, they have to change all of it at once for the aesthetic of it, which gets very pricey. Copper is very expensive. So pros and cons. It looks lovely, but it's expensive and will need to be replaced, just like any roof, I suppose. Some practice for you. As I looked at this, I realized that's the practice from last topic, so my apologies. You can clearly see my copy and paste error here. There's some practice on page 73 of Science Connect 1. Number 2, 3, 5, and 6 would be really helpful, I think, here.